Hello, I'm Chef Aaron Roth, and welcome to Mrs. Joe's Petite Patisserie and Cafe here in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Today I'm going to show you how to make a baked salmon en croute or a salmon welly or salmon Wellington. Very similar to beef Wellington, but we're using salmon instead of beef. So the first thing we're going to do is cook our shallots down. So I'm going to let them cook about a minute, and then once they're done, I'm going to add in the garlic. Had to go and get a wooden spoon. So, shallots are I like using shallots when it comes to dishes like this. To me, it steps up the level of your dish, and I like the taste of shallots. And they go very well with fish, or salmon in this case. Now, one thing people, you always add your garlic after you started cooking your onions. Now, you never add garlic. You add it on top of something because it doesn't take that long. So while that is getting ready, about another few seconds, I'm going to turn this down slightly. So you want to cook your shallots down to the translucent or they slightly change in color. And we're almost there. Just want to make sure I got everything else. Now that I have my shallots where I like them, I'm going to turn this up really high. Then I'm going to add in my white wine and lemon juice. Let that cook for about a minute. Smells really good, guys. I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. We're going to let that reduce a little. Then what I want to do is cook this and it's on high until the liquid almost evaporates. Almost evaporates. Doesn't take long, as you see. It smells so wonderful. Got that. My dill. You don't want to cook this till it's dry, but you want to let a lot of the water from the wine evaporate. And while we're waiting on that, so one thing we do here in the cafe when we have events and stuff, and if the guests do not use all of the wine, we save the wine and use it in other dishes. So if you have wine at home, don't throw it away. It still has use. Just put a stopper on it and just save it until something like this. You can use it. Your red wine, your white wine, your Chardonnays, your Merlots, whatever. Those are great to add to dishes or to marinate your meats. So don't throw stuff away. So we're just about there. This smells so good. So as you can see, so a few more minutes, and then I'm going to add the cream cheese and breadcrumbs. All right, now I'm going to add in my cream cheese. While it's still on high, I want to make sure that it melts. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of dill. As you know, dill is a great herb for salmon. So all you do is just spread it on. And now I'm going to turn this down and make sure everything is stirred well. So we have shallots, we have butter. Can't go wrong with butter. We have cream cheese and white wine. Or you can always use a cooking wine as well. You don't have to use a white wine. You can use a cooking wine. You get the same effect. All right, this is looking really good. Now, I'll be right back. That is something else. So that was our hash brown casserole finishing up. So more on that later. Okay, we're going to turn this down a little more. I just added the dill. Next, we're going to add in our fresh spinach. For this dish, I don't like to use frozen spinach. To me, unless you drain all the water out of the frozen spinach, to me, it's easier to use fresh spinach. You want to use fresh spinach. And all we're doing is letting this wilt down a little bit so we can stir. It won't take long. And while we're going to add in our breadcrumbs. I use plain breadcrumbs. You can use any type of seasoned breadcrumb. They have Parmesan, they have garlic and herb. But I'm using a plain breadcrumb. So we're going to cook this down, let this spinach wilt. Oh yeah, just about there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add the Parmesan cheese. And pretty much we're almost there, guys. Just want to stir, make sure everything is combined well. And it is. Now I'm just going to turn this off at this time. Now I'm going to add in, as you saw earlier, I had the lemon juice. And remember, I've said many times, whatever you juice, you should zest. So now I'm adding the lemon zest from the lemon that I juiced earlier into the mix. Now you always add it while the temperature is off. And all it's going to do is just permeate your dish. There we go. So now that we have our filling done, the next thing we're going to do is prepare the salmon. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now that we have finished our spinach cheese mixture, we are prepping our salmon fillet. Now, I've prepped this the day before. All I've done was just season it well, wrap it in parchment, whatever, and just let it rest overnight in the refrigerator. I think when you season fish and allow it to marinate overnight, you get to me, a better depth of flavor. So I used I didn't use salt and pepper. I use a Cajun seasoning. You can use whatever seasoning you like, but as long as it is a great seasoning, you should be fine. So here we are, and I kept the skin on. I like keeping the skin on when I bake salmon in a dish. I think it provides that nice layer of fat for the fish to cook on. And so there you are, and this is what my overnight salmon fillet looks like. Next, we're going to wrap it in the puff pastry and bake it. Now that we have seasoned our salmon and our mixture has cooled, I have taken out some puff pastry and allowed it to defrost. Now I'm not going to use the entire sheet of puff pastry. So a good way to determine on how much you should use is put your salmon in it about like this, and you want to wrap it. Not a huge overlap. So what I'm going to do is take off about this much. Put it to the side. And then now, this is our cream mixture. We're going to put, and you want to put about enough on the puff pastry to mimic the size of the salmon fillet. Now you don't have to have it exactly, but you want it to sit on a nice bed of creamy goodness. Okay, now we're just going to lay the salmon on top as so. Then we're going to place the remaining mixture on top. So all we're doing is wrapping the salmon, getting everything off. Then we're going to bring the puff pastry over. And this is where you can stretch it. Just want to stretch it just enough. And then you're going to pinch the edges like such. You want to make sure that, now I have the paper on the bottom so it's easier to lift. You'll see, in case your puff pastry is too warm, it may be hard. So all you do is want to make sure everything is pinched like we have. So you're going to pinch and make sure. And then over like that. And we're going to egg wash. Now, why egg wash? Egg wash provides a beautiful finish to any baked dough. In this case, puff pastry. I put a little heavy cream. Got 1 egg. Some people use water. I like to use heavy cream or some type of dairy base. Mix it well. Use a silicone brush. Gone are the days of using the brush with horsehair. Not horsehair, but the brushes of old, because they can leave some of the hairs can be left on the item, and people may think that's your hair and it's not. So I like to use this. That way I'm not leaving any hairs for people to pick out their mouths. So all you do is just lightly brush all exposed edges, the sides. If you see it puddling anywhere, just pick it out and just keep doing this. You want to make sure it's glistening as so. You want to make sure that you egg wash the entire thing. Now, all I'm doing next, I like to score. So when I score, get a very sharp knife, very lightly. Just bring it, I like to do diagonal. And then go back the opposite way, but very lightly. In case that's not a problem. Let me do it this way. And there you have it. Our baked salmon en croute. And we're going to bake this at about 350, about 20 to 25 minutes, but depending on your oven. But pretty much all you do is want it to brown. The salmon will cook way before then, but once it browns, you want to take it out. Once your puff pastry browns, you want to take it out of the oven, let it rest, and then cut it. So we'll see you back. Welcome back. Now we have taken our baked salmon en croute out of the oven, and I have plated it for you. So here you are. You can see where we did the little cuts across, where we scored it. And this is a beautiful dish. You can share this or not share it, but you will enjoy it. So again, thank you for tuning in at Mrs. Joe's Petite Eats Patisserie and Cafe. Have a great day.